What up, what up, what up? I'm AC Cruz. You know who you are. Welcome to the podcast. And I know we got a few, maybe more than a few, newbies, new subscribers to the podcast. Seeing as how the numbers are phenomenal when it comes to listenership. And I guess that could be attributed to Abraham Quintanilla, who graced us with his presence a couple of weeks ago. Abraham Quintanilla, as you may or may not know, that's Selena's father, the late, great Selena. So, welcome. Our guest today is Crystal Torres. It was a lot of fun talking to her. You can tell she's smart and well-versed young lady, and I was kind of joking when I said, dude, you have all these years in college, and you got your master's, and you're singing in the Tejano group at some of the worst dives. But hey, different strokes for different folks, no? Getting back to Abraham, he was talking about Selena and how she affected the lives of so many youngsters, so many people. She inspired our guest, Crystal. You'll hear her explain in just a bit. She could relate. I thought that was kind of cool. And regarding the episode with Abraham, there were so many questions that I would have asked that they would slip my mind because I had so much fun. I always have fun when I talk to Abraham, but oh well. Although I think the important stuff got across. Got across? Got across. I mean, didn't have that much time, even though I made it a 2-part episode. What I found interesting is that a lot of people that have negative comments, toxic comments about Abraham or the family for that matter, they didn't even listen to the interview. They didn't listen to the podcast. And up until this morning, I was getting messaging from the Philippines, Florida, Germany, and all these people say, I did not know that about the transfusion. I did not know that about this or that. So, I don't know. Got a friend that says, man, I got a new perspective on Abraham. I said, well, I'm glad I could do that for you. And I will tell you, I did one thing when I saw all these comments, all these negative, toxic comments from these people. I reached out to these people. I said, listen, would you like to come on and express what you just posted? And 6 out of 10 said, no, I don't want to talk about that. Oh, yeah, but you can hide behind the keyboard and talk shit, but you won't come on the show. What the fuck? One of them says, I'll get back to you. But everybody else says, I'd rather not. I'd rather sit here and talk shit not knowing the truth. And that is why I did what I did. So, take it for what it's worth. You may disagree. That's your call. It's your right. But, stop being so toxic. That's all I'm saying. So negative. There's too much of that, man. So, again, this podcast is entertainment. It's not news. We're having fun. So let's get on with having fun. Let's go ahead and do this.
On the next AC Cruz Podcast.
It's Crystal Torres. And she hooked up with my, when we hooked up, she traveled down to South Padre Island, Texas to shoot a video. And they were online, Facebook Live, I think, and they were laughing. And I said, I recognize that voice, but I didn't recognize this voice, which was Crystal. And that other voice was my ex, my dear friend, Rebecca Valadez. It's a funny story. It's Crystal Torres on the AC Cruz Podcast, behind the mic. Gotta love it when an ex speaks well of you. Or do they? I was talking to Crystal Torres, who's our guest, about one of my exes. According to her, she spoke well. No ill will. At least I hope not.
She just says that you're a great guy.
Right.
I swear, I'm telling the truth, as God is my witness.
Yeah.
And then she told me, so I don't know how much you know about me, but I have been in the industry, I guess about 8 years now. And I had been trying to get into it and doing my research. And so 2007, Vegas convention, I went there because I lived in Vegas at that point in time. And I saw Rebecca and got like starstruck. And so I went up to her. I was like, should I say hi? Should I, not? Should I? And I went up to her and she was by herself. She was in the lobby. And I tapped her on the shoulder and I said, hi, Rebecca. And she turned around and I said, you don't know who I am. Yeah, I'm a nobody. I said, but I'm a big fan. And she looked me up and down and said, thanks, and walked away. And I was shit. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed, because I'm real awkward. I'm real shy. And so it took a lot for me to go and say something to her. So every time I see her, I joke and I tell her, remember that time you blew me off? And she's like, shut up, stop telling people that. But no joke, she's an amazing person. And she actually said that you guys were at that same convention. So yeah,
that's when we dated. We're still good friends. Anyway,
yeah.
So listen, you're not in Kansas anymore.
I'm not.
Well, yeah. I'm sorry. What is it? 2 states down, Des Moines. You're not in Iowa anymore.
So it's funny you say Kansas though, because that's where I was born, and not that many people know. Swear, yeah.
I love it. Born in Kansas, really?
Born in Kansas, yeah. I was born in Hutchinson, Kansas. That's the. I like to say my claim to fame is that I was born where the Kansas State Fair is held, and I grew up where the Iowa State Fair is held. Okay. So I don't live in Dallas though, so I can't say that I live where the Texas State Fair is.
I understand. What made you move to Des Moines? No, I'm sorry. Is it Des Moines or Des Moines?
Des Moines.
Des Moines.
Yeah, Des Moines.
No
S. The S is silent.
Got it.
Yeah. But it happens a lot that a lot of, famous artists will go and perform there, and they're like, how you doing, Des Moines? At the concert. So it happens a lot, but yeah, it's Des Moines. So as I mentioned, I was born in Kansas, and when I was 8 months old, my mom decided to move to Des Moines where my grandma was living. We moved when I was a baby, and but my mom is from Odessa, Texas. So that's kind of where the whole Tejano thing comes into play.
Yeah. I was trying to think of the fun things to do in Des Moines. I couldn't think of any except for the dome and the Capitol is awesome.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. The kids, we went there in July, and it was the first time my kids had been there. And so every time they saw it, they were like, oh, that's cool. There's gold. It's 100% gold.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Now, how old were you when you moved to San Antonio?
I was 26.
26.
I had the opportunity to come and record when I was 17, I think. And I told my mom about it. And it was with Tejas Records. I, thought to myself, I'm going to go be at the Tejano Star, right? And my mom said, hell no. Your ass is going to college. And I went kicking and screaming. And I told her, you're ruining my life. And I went, I know, right? I went to college, and it's funny because out of the 4 kids, I was the one who did not want to go to college. Nothing against education, because I love to read, I love to learn, but I just felt like college wasn't for me because I'm so ADHD and all over the place. It was hard to focus. And I just thought, well, what am I going to do? And out of all 4 kids, I was the one who kind of caught the education bug. And when I was finished with my bachelor's, I went on to get my master's. And so when I was finished with my master's degree, at that point, I said, okay, I'm leaving. I'm going to San Antonio. I'm going to see what I can go do that down there. And so that was Halloween 2009 that I moved.
Wait a minute. Yeah. So you graduate, you have your master's, you say, okay, all those years of school, I'm going to throw it all away and become a singer. What the hell?
Well, it's kind of funny because my bachelor's is in Spanish. And when I graduated, I thought, I don't want to teach. I am not the type, I have no patience whatsoever. So I started working part-time at Drake University in my hometown. And one of the perks was free college tuition. And so I took an HR class and fell in love with HR and recruiting and all of that. Got my master's, half of it pretty much for free. And then when I moved down here, I worked in recruiting, and I still do. So it kind of helped out. And I really did luck out. And I thank my mother for pushing me to go to college, because especially during this pandemic, when you see so many artists struggling that didn't necessarily have something to fall back on. I'm really grateful that I didn't struggle during this pandemic. I didn't lose my job. I continued working and still, was recording as well.
So is your mom still with you?
She travels a lot, and she's actually in town right now.
Good.
So I get to see her.
I won't take up too much of your time, okay?
Oh, no. She's with my grandma right now.
Oh, okay, so. Okay. If you don't mind me asking, what about your dad?
So
I'm so sorry.
No, it's not. So I do have a father, and it's kind of interesting. I met him for the first time in Des Moines this summer. But
after all these years?
Yeah.
Goodness.
There's a long backstory. We'll have to talk.
Well, don't worry about it. No, we don't have to talk about it.
It's fine. But who I call my dad is my stepfather.
Yeah.
He's from the town called Montemorelos, Nuevo León. It's near Monterrey.
I know exactly where it is. Yeah, come on.
Wow.
I've been all over Mexico.
Yeah, so my dad is from Montemorelos, but my birth father is actually from Chile. So I'm half Chilena. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah. But I didn't really know much, about that side of the family growing up and stuff. So I consider myself Mexicana first and foremost.
For sure.
So, yeah.
Now, you did mention that you have siblings. How many?
I have a brother and 2 sisters. So I have 3 siblings. My brother is older. He lives in Denver. And then I have 2 little sisters. One of them lives in Oklahoma City. She's a truck driver. She's badass. My dad is a truck driver and owns his own trucking business. So she kind of followed in the footsteps there. And then my baby sister is actually a neuroscientist. She works, she works at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore.
Oh, wow. I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
I love this.
And my brother, so we all got our college degrees, which is really cool because my older brother, my mom was actually pregnant with him for senior year of high school. Mm-hmm. And so she always pushed education on us. Yeah. And all 4 of us got our college degrees. We think she's pretty awesome just because, how does a mom do that? You know what I mean? So,
hell yeah. So where did you get the music bug from?
My grandma. So she sang when she was younger. And there is a Catholic church movement called the Cursillos. And so she sang a lot in the Catholic church, mariachi and Spanish music. She had the opportunity to go travel and perform, but she had 3 kids by the time she was 20. And she was actually a single mom for the whole time. So she's a badass too, but she's the one who can sing, and she would always play, Ramon Ayala, Little Joe, Sunny Osuna, Ruben Ramos, the old records. I listened to that music when I was younger, and it reminds me of home. And so she said that the earliest song that she remembers me singing was when I was about 3 years old, and it was that Bad Boy, the Gloria Estefan. Bad boy.
I love it.
So yeah, she said I've been singing since I was in diapers. When I was, I think 9 or 10, she got me a karaoke machine. And so I would sing in my room. And Selena was like at the height of her popularity when I was like 8, 9, 10. And so we'd listen to the Entre a Mi Mundo cassette tape, on the weekends when my mom was vacuuming, and we'd help clean around the house. And, I really kind of identified with her because it was like, finally somebody brown like me, especially growing up in Iowa, where I don't really necessarily have that Latino influence. And so I really looked up to Selena. I really loved her music. And when she passed, it was like, it was heartbreaking for all of us. And I didn't know her. I grew up in Iowa, Yeah.
When you say growing up in Iowa, did they treat you different being a Latina, Mexicana?
It's kind of a loaded question, because looking back, it's like I see some things that could be considered, discrimination. I say that back home, when there is any sort of, racism or discrimination, it's kind of more so behind your back. So I went to a Catholic school, a private school. I was always kind of different, I guess, obviously, because I'm the only little Mexican girl in my class. But I've always been a really sweet person. And sometimes people can take advantage of that. There was a little boy who was Asian, who was teased heavily when I was in middle school. And I stood up for him. He ended up leaving the school. But when he left the school, all the hate turned to me. And so I got the wrath for kind of sticking up for him. I'm not going to lie, my middle school years were really rough. I was very depressed, and I was 12 years old. Come on, that's a very serious age. And they knew that I liked to sing, Selena. There were a couple of people who were not so nice about it. And I try not to be bitter about it. I feel like it made me who I am today. But picking on somebody because of their skin color, because of their ethnicity, or because of the language they speak is not cool. Yeah. And then as I got older, right before I moved down to San Antonio, I was in a music competition at a local casino. And I always placed like 10th, 9th, and it was almost as if they didn't like that a little Mexican girl was singing country better than the all-American type, so to speak. And a lot of people would come up to me after the competitions and say, that's not right. You should have won, but it's like, okay, whatever, Yeah. I knew that I had talent and I was going to focus and just kind of move forward and whatnot. So no, I'd say, any kind of racism down there is not so blatant, so to speak. It's more veiled.
So, did you ever go back to Des Moines?
Yeah, we actually went for the first time I went for the first time in 10 years this summer.
So do you see any of those kids?
The ones from the Catholic school, not so much. All right. They see on social media. So.
I love it. Your husband, go ahead. I'm sorry. We were
Oh, no, I was going to say he plays disc golf. Have you ever heard of that?
Disc golf?
Yeah. So it's kind of
Throw
like,
a disc?
Yeah, it's like regular golf, but with the Frisbees. And so there was a big tournament in Iowa this summer and he wanted to go play. And I thought, let's kill two birds with one stone. I'll go meet my real dad and see, my college friends and show the kids around and show them where I grew up. So it was nice.
Well, cool. So now you're back in San Antonio. What part?
So when I first moved, I bought a home on the east side of San Antonio, and we still have that home. When I got married, I signed it over to my dad. And so it's kind of like our vacation home for any family that's coming through town. And my grandma, who's 84, actually stays there. So she's just 15 minutes down the road. So
right. I live on the south side. Aquí con mi raza. Aquí con mi gente. I found out that Savannah Ocean lives down the street from me. And then cool. Leo Correa from La Calma lives down the street as well. I didn't find this out till we did this podcast, one on the Zoom, and then obviously when Leo and the guys came in here. But if you don't mind me asking, what side of town do you live in?
I am on the northeast side. Yeah.
I lived all over San Antonio. I kid you not. I lived the west side, the south side, and then the northwest side with the Chanje High School. So yeah, I know all of San Antonio.
I'm all over. I love to drive. And so when I first moved here, I put away my GPS and I just drove all over until I would get lost so that I would know my way around town. So I know my way around pretty good. Yeah.
Good for you. Great.
Yeah.
Listen, time to talk about music. And the grandmother that gave you that music bug, what was your first memory that you can remember when you said, you know what, I think I'm going to do this for a living?
Ooh, like I said, I had always liked to sing since I was little. And I don't have a copy of that yearbook, but even in 8th grade, when I graduated from that Catholic school, they had, I guess, what you predicted your future would be, right?
Yeah.
And other students would give you that title. And I remember mine was Selena too. And it wasn't necessarily that I wanted to be Selena, because there's only one Selena, right?
Sure.
But even at that age, I knew that I wanted to sing Tejano music, and nobody knew what Tejano music was over there, But it wasn't until I guess I started singing at like family barbecues when we would visit family in Odessa that my mom was like, oh, sing for these cousins or sing for these cousins. And I was so shy just because of being teased in middle school, that it was just like very painful for me to get up in front of people and just belt it out. It was almost like I was scared, and I sang a couple times, and I started seeing people's reactions, and people would cry or people would get goosebumps. And I'm like, I have to have something, right? So I just kept, practicing. And my senior year of high school, they had a 16 de septiembre event, the very first ever in my town. And I called up the organizer and I said, I'm a local performer. I wasn't. I called her up and I said, I'm a local performer. I sing Tejano and I sing country. Can I have 30 minutes to perform? And she said,
not this
sure.
15, not this 15 or 2
no,
songs.
30, right? And she said, sure. I know. I was like, I look back and I'm like, damn, I don't know. Like, I just went for it. And she gave me 30 minutes.
But that's pretty demanding, 30 minutes as opposed to 2 songs.
But she gave me the 30 minutes and I performed Selena and Shelly Lattice songs.
Right.
And
speaking of Shelly,
I was like, I want to do this.
And you did it with Shelly. Your debut was Corazón de Cristal.
Well, yes, the Corazón de Cristal was produced by Gilbert Velasquez, but I have had the 2 songs produced by Shelly. Yeah. And it's so surreal having looked up to somebody in this industry and now being able to call them a friend and a mentor. Yeah. It's crazy. Now, I can't even put into words.
Now, did you know that Corazón de Cristal was a song recorded and the actual CD was a all-time bestseller for Los Palominos?
I did know that.
You did know that.
The title. But the way that I spelled it was like a play on words with my name, because I really felt that this album was from my heart. Good so, call. Yeah.
And then you went to work with Mario, Super Mario.
Yeah. He's a badass. My song that really kind of, not saying that Gilbert didn't help me, because he did.
That's another badass. Come on. 16
he's a
Grammys?
powerhouse.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. And it's funny. So rewind. So that same convention that I mentioned that, I was kind of gauging and observing, I asked every single person in that room, in the, meetings that I would go to, who is the best producer in Tejano? And everybody said Gilbert Velasquez. So I went with a family friend. He's a DJ in Topeka. And I said, I'm going to work with Gilbert Velasquez. And he was like, you're crazy. And I said, no, I'm going to make it happen. I said, I just need you. And I'm so bossy. I just need you to record, a couple songs, demo, in your living room studio. And I'm going to send it to him. And so we drove to Topeka. He recorded me, singing a couple songs. And I sent an email to Gilbert and I said, my name's Crystal Torres. I live in Iowa. I want to be a Tejano singer. I really want to speak to you. Here's a couple of my songs. And he emailed that same week and he said, call me. And I thought, oh, shit. What did I do?
Why would you say shit? That's what you wanted.
Like, it is what I wanted, but it's like, I don't even know. And I tell my mom these things and I tell anybody who talks to me, I really don't know how this all happened. I didn't have a plan. I just had a dream. When these things happen, I'm like, dang, like, am I really lucky? Or like, I don't even know. It's just, it's a higher power,
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, so I got to talk to Gilbert and he said, I'd love to meet you. And I flew down to Texas to meet him. A couple months later, I sang for him in the studio and he said, let's make this happen. And so lo and behold, I moved to Texas and started, planning the album with him. And then I had a little oops and got pregnant. And my mom was like, girl, I did not send you down to Texas to get pregnant. She wanted to whoop my booty and she wanted me to move back to Iowa. And I said, you know what? I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to make it happen. And she moved down here for 2 years to help me with my son because I was a single mom. I owe a lot to my mom as well. So she helped me. And Gilbert said, if you really want to be a singer, I'll be here waiting when you're ready to start recording. And so started recording Corazón de Cristal in 2011. No, 2012, because my son he was almost 2. We started recording in 2012, and little by little we got it done, and I released the album. What really kind of helped get me some notoriety was Te Daré Mi Corazón, which was recorded by Elizabeth E. Texas Fire way back in the day.
Yeah.
And we recorded it with horns and everything. And that really kind of solidified me as a new artist and helped me win at the Tejano Music Awards.
Tejano Music, I was going to ask you that. It's the best female vocalist, right?
Best new female. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It is, but I didn't think I was going to
win. Why?
Not necessarily because, I didn't think that I was talented or anything like that. I was against some, good performers. And so I thought for sure that one of them was going to win. And I even had told my husband a couple months before, I don't think I'm going to go. And he said, no, you should go. You're nominated. And so we went and, we had to buy tickets. I got nosebleed tickets. So if you find the video of me winning on YouTube, it takes me forever to get to the stage because not only am I 4 months pregnant, I'm walking in like 6-inch heels, but we were way nosebleed because I was being cheap.
8 times is tough, man.
Yeah. So it took me literally probably over a minute to get to the stage. And then Casey Zavala was the one who presented it to me. And she's like, is she even here? And people were like, oh, she's back here. She's back here.
Yeah.
So I finally got to the front stage and I just fell apart. I wasn't expecting it. I didn't write a speech. You can ask my husband when they announced my name. I looked at him and I said, who did they say? I was shocked. And it's funny because if you find the video, it's on YouTube somewhere, when they're announcing the nominees, people are like this. When they say my name, but then when I was announced, there were some claps, but I don't know. I always ask my mom, I don't know what it is about me, but people either really, really like me or they really don't,
Welcome to my world.
Yeah. But, what can I say? My mom likes to say, if you have haters, you're doing something right.
Exactly. Right. There's an old saying that my dad told me a while back. He says, I'd rather have him talking bad about me than not talk about me at all.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's free publicity. Well, It's funny because the night before we were practicing at Gilbert's studio and I was slated to perform Te Daré Mi Corazón with the band. And we're practicing and a local baker dropped off a cake. And it was real cute. It had my picture on it and it said Best New Female Artist Nominee. But nominee was on the back. And I take a picture with this cake and I take a picture with Frank and Robert, right? And Gilbert. And they're like, oh, this chick already knew she won. And then when I said my speech, I said, I promised my mom I wouldn't cry, but I forgot to add if I won. So then people are like, she knew she was going to win. The Tejano Music Awards are rigged. I have no idea. I'm not a part of, behind the scenes, but I can tell you for a fact, I did not know that I was going to win.
Don't worry about the haters. Come on now.
Know.
Yeah, don't do that. Anyway.
People are mean. I was pregnant and I thought I looked good. The picture that they put on Facebook when I won, I don't have large breasts. And so my picture, I'm not going to Photoshop boobs if I don't have boobs. And so people were like, oh, she looks like a tranny.
What?
I know. And that pisses me off because I'm very pro, LGBTQIA.
Sure.
And so nobody should ever use that term to bring somebody else down. And so I was real upset about that. People can be trolls hiding on the internet. You know what I mean? In the grand scheme of things, I would love to, fight all day long on Facebook with
but
people.
You don't have time.
You don't have time, and it takes a lot out of you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Who wants that negative energy?
Yes, exactly.
So,
yeah. Toxic people you don't need to be around.
Yeah.
So listen, this new song that you have on your page, your Facebook page, what's it called? Te siento el amor, ¿cómo se llama?
El amor que siento por ti.
Oh my God. You like
it?
Dude, I loved it. I loved it. That's why I reached out to you. Reached out to Myra D. Dude.
Really? Oh my gosh. That makes me so excited because I've been listening for some time, your podcast. And, I see everybody with your t-shirts and I see, people promoting and I'm like, dang, I want to be on that. But I figure, it'll come. Right. And so when she called me, I was like, you're kidding, right? He knows who I am.
Wait a minute. What did she tell you?
No, she was like, you need to call me ASAP. And anytime she says that, I'm like, oh no, what did I do? Am I in trouble or what? So I call her and she's like, guess what? And I'm like, what? And she was like, AC wants you on his podcast. And I'm like, no way. And I'm like, you're kidding, right? And she's like, no, call him. And so as soon as I was done with my nails, I called you.
Yes. But I told you, I said, do you realize that you're my friend on Facebook? You're like, am I? I said, yes.
No. It's funny because it took like a year for you to accept me.
Oh, no, I didn't know. Don't tell me that.
But it's okay. No, you got a lot of people to accept. So
that was me just doing the Rebecca. Remember that time you dissed me? No, when I saw you and then I heard that song, I said, oh my. Now, here's the deal, real quick. I tell the new artists that come here that do my podcast, I say, you know what? I'm fascinated and I love new music. And I like to meet the artists that are behind this new music. Because, be honest with you, there was a time where Michael Salgado, Bobby Pulido, they were new artists. They start somewhere. But I thank you for saying, oh my God, is this really happening?
Yes. So I was really excited when I heard that.
Well, I love the song and I want to hear more. How can I hear more?
Yeah. So I'm on Spotify, iTunes, pretty much wherever you purchase or stream music, I'm on there. El amor que siento por ti just came out. Prior to that was El Uno para el Otro, which is a mariachi song that came out in January. That did really well on the radio charts, even went to #1 on the Tejano Gold Countdown. Yeah, we're working on new music. My producer, Anthony Perez, I just talked to him last week. I said, this album better be done by December. Amandona. But
no, not you.
I don't know if you follow astrology, but I'm at Aries. So I'm a little bossy at times. And I know what I want and I know how I want it. And, yeah. So
what does it say about me? I'm a Taurus. Okay.
You're a bull.
Yeah.
You're very stubborn.
I am. I am when I want to be. I am. I'm very stubborn.
But you got a big heart. You'll do anything for your loved ones.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and within reason. So, when can we expect new music? Before December?
Yes, definitely. The album will be done before December, and we're hoping we were going to record a new single here within the next month, and we kind of changed plans because my grandma was diagnosed with cancer.
Oh, goodness.
And but it's good because she was diagnosed as stage 2. They caught it early. And doctors are very optimistic that with surgery, she'll be good as new and it, won't progress. It hasn't spread. So we're very, very happy with that news. So she'll get surgery within the next couple of months. But I had planned to surprise her but I think she already knows that her favorite song is Mi Ranchito. Ay, al pie de la montaña, donde temprano se oculta el sol. But we're going to record it kind of like conjunto style.
Wait a minute. Wait. You can't leave me right there. Come on now. Keep going. You're such a tease. I know you're married, but I mean that in a good way.
Yes.
But I love it.
Thank you. Yeah. So we're going to record. It's her favorite song from her childhood. And so we're going to record it kind of like conjunto, kind of like round table, like we're all together at a barbecue and just playing. So I talked to my producer last week, and he's already started the instrumentation and everything on that. So we're going to record that for her. I wasn't going to release it as a single, but Myra D says I should. So it was more so as a present, you know, from me to her for all the inspiration that she's ever given me, and you know, who I am and what I do is pretty much, you know, because of, you know, my grandma's talent and her encouragement and everything, you know. And of course, my mom, you know, supported me a lot, but she doesn't sing. She just loves to listen to music.
There you go. That's all you need.
So, and then we have a couple more songs that we need to record. The music's already finished. I just have to lay down the vocals. Awesome. So definitely by December.
So do you have a band?
I do. I call it the rotating band because we kind of have a handful of musicians that I call on at any given point in time. Of course, you know, in Tejano, with the newer artists, you can't necessarily have somebody who's 100% committed, but I do have a group of musicians that I'm able to call on if I have a gig and whatnot. So we have a couple keyboardists, we have a couple drummers, a couple bassists, and so on and so forth. So we got to perform in Houston in July, and that was a lot of fun. In a couple weeks, I'm going to be performing in Rockport just with my guitarist. So trying to get out there. Yeah.
Well,
trying to make it happen.
With this pandemic, I mean, it's crazy, man. You never know. It's hard. It's hard.
It is. I'm still trying to be on social media and post new music and whatnot, because as you know, this industry is very fickle, and if you're not in the spotlight, you know, they forget about you, unfortunately. So trying to get people to remember me. So my mom is kind of like she'll advise me like, oh, I don't think you should post that, or oh, you should keep it this, because, you know, she knows that people like, you know, either like me or they don't, and if I am real outspoken, you know, sometimes people don't like that. So
I can relate when it comes to being outspoken, because ever since the early 90s, my name is AC Cruz, but they call me AC motherfucking Cruz. And that name was given to me. No, not awesome. It was. Yeah, it is. No, wait. You remember Sir Mix-a-Lot? Baby Got Back?
Yeah.
We did an interview. I said, can we go into the production room? I said, but I want you to do some drops. Hey, this is Sir Mix-a-Lot. You listen to AC Cruz on B104. So he says, yeah. And he says, boom, this is Sir Mix-a-Lot. You're jamming to my boy AC motherfucking Cruz on B104. I said, okay. I said, dude, we can't use that. He said, sure you can. Just bleep it. So needless to say, I went ahead and bleeped it, and I would use it on my show. Awesome. When I became a program director, I would get product from record companies, and it was addressed to AC MF Cruz. And they stayed with me forever. And to this day, people still call me AC motherfucking Cruz, man. It's not awesome.
Yes, it is. That's like legit. That's like street cred.
Street cred. Well, I guess so. Anyway, Crystal, I want to thank you so much. I know you're busy, but I want to thank you so much for taking the time.
I appreciate it. Like I said, you know, I tell people I'm just a mom who sings. I'm grateful for anything that comes my way. And I love to sing. It comes from my heart. And so I really love what I do.
Now, you did mention everybody in your family, but we didn't mention the kids, and we don't have to if you don't want. But how many kids do you have, if you don't mind? I have 2. Aiden is going to be 11 in November, and Isela Sol is going to be 7 in February. Awesome.
So, yeah.
What do they think when they see Mom on stage?
I honestly, you know, it's kind of weird because I think that they think every mom sings, it's just like, it's just what I do to them.
I think,
but I think little by little they're seeing like, hey, that's not normal because we'll be driving and then my song comes on the radio and they're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, they think it's cool.
Emilio Navaida, obviously Emilio's son, he says, for years I thought everybody was in the music biz. And I found out that wasn't true. Only my dad was and my uncle, Yeah. So yeah. Forever I thought everybody was on the radio with my dad, Yeah. Well, that wasn't the case. Yeah. So
but it humbles me because, they're like, hey, do you know Bruno Mars? And I'm like, no. Why? And they're like, well, he's on Spotify too. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I'm sorry.
A friend of mine from high school saw a picture with Raulito and Sting. And she's a big fan of Sting. And she says, if Sting ever comes on your podcast, I want to invite to your house. I said, no. I don't know Sting. I know what you're talking about. Anyway, again, Crystal, thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Continued success and good luck with the awards this time around.
Thank you. Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. But, at least I got one.
And you can bet it's not going to be the last. Ojalá.
Appreciate it.
And you go ahead and you keep being outspoken. Well, thanks again. There you have it. Crystal Torres, Tejano Music Award winner, mom with the masters, Mandona. Crystal, thanks again. If you like the podcast, tell your friends. If your friends don't like it, find new friends. So just chill to the next episode of the AC Cruz Podcast. Much love. Be safe.